Hey everybody, welcome back to Mike's World. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Yolobox Mini. I'm going to unbox this, I'm going to demonstrate it, show you everything it can do, and I'm going to give you my final grade at the end to let you know why you might want to stay away from this thing. But let's get to the unboxing. Before we get started, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed, like the video, and also leave a comment. Let's get started with the unboxing right now. All right, so let's get started unboxing the Yolobox Mini. Take a look here. Not sure what this is. Something in here. Looks like a protective piece of glass. That's what it is. It's a protective piece of glass. So we will have to put that on in a minute. And then it looks like Yolobox. I mean, it's pretty much out of the box is the size of a, feels like a, I mean, it's thicker than an iPad mini, but this is pretty much it. 1/4-20 screw, has a slot for a SIM card, and then a slot for an SD card. There's your power button. You can see, I don't have big hands and it's not that big. Up here, we have HDMI in, USB in, which if you use a HDMI to USB capture card, that means you can do 2 camera inputs. That's pretty cool. HDMI out, Ethernet, you have line and mic, headphone, and power through USB-C. I believe it has to take 3 amps or 5 watts. So nice venting there. A quick guide right here with the QR code. I believe that's the only thing in here. Pretty much is it. We have the protective glass. We have a instruction manual, which I'll read through. So throw that here. Let's see what else it comes with. Stuff in here, so it's a nice box. I'll keep that box. I used to have a Teradek video. I still have it, and I still have the original box to it. So this, now I'd be surprised if this is what I think it is. That is a power cable. I'm surprised because other people have said that this thing is not supposed to come with a power cable. This one did. So I can power it through that. And then let's see what this is. This looks like a cold shoe to mount. Probably gonna have to rip this open. Nope. This is a cold shoe mount for the, and I can already tell one thing I'm not gonna like about this is that this, look how that is not centered. So if you put it squared on your camera, it's going to sit crooked. It's not going to sit straight. So what I can tell you is that I have some really good Manfrotto ball heads that I'll use. I won't even use this because that's not even on there straight. So it doesn't even look like I can take it off there. So honestly, I'm not impressed with this thing at all, especially with this being off center. That's just crap. I'm glad they did give me a charge cable. And then of course, I will put the protective glass onto the Yolo Mini. So let's get the thing fired up. Let's use it. It works as a monitor or as a streaming encoder. I want it as an encoder. That's the main reason I bought it. So let's use it and let me give you my thoughts on it. All right, so let me demonstrate the Yolobox Mini for you. And so you already saw the unboxing. And one thing that I added was this little microphone, this plug-in microphone. I use this Mini for mobile applications on the go. That's why I bought the Mini. That's why I wanted the small 5-inch monitor and I didn't go with the Pro. So a couple of things here. You have an HDMI in, USB in, which can be a camera. However, and I'll demonstrate this in a minute, you can't have both at the same time. Huge flaw. I'll give you my thoughts at the end of the video about this. But if you try to plug in both, or you try to hot swap from one camera to the next, while this is on, it completely crashes it. I mean, it's got huge software issues, and there are limitations to this thing, but I'm going to hook it up. I'm going to show you what it does, and you can see it for yourself. So the first thing we're going to do, as we go along here, we have Ethernet, HDMI out, which I'm not using here, USB-C for power, you have your headphone out, and microphone, and you have a line in on the bottom side, SD card, which I have in here, SIM card. I do have a T-Mobile SIM card in here for to use for mobile applications. I'll explain that too when I get to everything about this. First thing we're going to do is hold this button and we're going to power it on. I have used this for several weeks already, so I'm just demoing this for you, show you what it can do, what it can't do, and the extra piece of equipment I had to buy to get this thing to work the way it should work right out of the box. So it's going to power up. One other thing about this, I'll just go ahead and tell you, it does have cellular bonding so that you can have a hotspot plus SIM card plus Ethernet, but you got to pay extra for it. It's like $300 a year, and it's ridiculous that you have to pay for that, but they try to nickel and dime you, so that's what you got to do. The other thing too is you have these standard events. You can't add thumbnails. You can't do much with these. You can with the Yolocast events, but again, you have to pay a subscription separately from the bonding for Yolocast events. Something I was not happy about, but I'm going to go in here and delete this one, this event that I had already done, live stream. So this is your main screen when it pops up, and if you hit the plus, you can create a new live stream or create go to monitor mode. So monitor mode, this is just going to work like an on-cam monitor. You can hit close. This is a full screen for my live channel for YouTube. When we go out live stream breaking news. Here you have, right here is your layers, and you have different layers, and you can pop them on and off like that. You can see the layers. My biggest complaint about the layers is they're very slow to dissolve in, they're very slow to dissolve out, and there is no way to change the duration or to switch to where they cut in and cut out. Hate that. I think it's terrible. Click the screen over here, it goes off. Your next one is your sources. So there's no HDMI going in right now. I'm going to go ahead and hold this and hit delete and hit done. So from this, to add sources, you would hit this button. You can add HDMI or USB, but you can't do both at once. You can add up to 2 videos, which you can then play out later. So if I were to hit that, I do have something saved on here for now. So we have these different things that I recorded. So let's just say we'll add this. We'll hit done. We can add another one. And let's do another video. And let's say it's this one, because that was a recorded live stream. So you have 2. Now the other thing you can do is add another source, and with a live picture and a video, or live picture, and you invite somebody in streaming, you can do all these side-by-side picture-in-picture. So if I go side-by-side and I select, I want that shot, next, that's for A, I want that shot for B, and then you can do a bunch of different things. You can add a background to it. I'll hit done. And so then when I hit that one, we're seeing both recorded videos side by side. So you can also do one live source, and you can do a video if you want to show a video while you're actually live. But again, we're in monitor mode right now. So I'll go back to this, and I'll just pick my full screen for a minute. Tap here to get out of it. You have audio. You have program, which is your main audio out. Monitor is your headphones. Mic in, slide, and then you have your local video to turn sound on and off. If you want them to hear it, you need to turn that on before you start playing the video. One thing I will say is, using this microphone when I live stream, I have to go up here to this setting, and I have to increase by 20 dB. Maybe. Come on. That's too much. Right there, I go back, and then I have to put the program up to 20. Well, that's the delay, and that's messing up everything right there. Okay, I need to get that back to 0. This touchscreen is not that great. You can see that. Program out and audio out, and I turn everything else off. And so now you can see an audio meter up here. That's for people to hear me pretty good on the stream. I have to do the 20 dB. using that microphone. Okay, bump the camera. You also have scoreboards you can do for sports, all kinds of different scoreboards. Not going to get into that. You have auto switching, where it can auto switch between shots. If you're doing some kind of live event, you want it to just take over and switch for you. I have no use for that whatsoever. You have a settings. And so there's a whole bunch of different video source switching mode, program out, all that. And then you have up here, you hit that button to record. So I want to start recording, yes. So I'm recording to the SD card. As you're going along, you can set your replay. So you can set for like 10 seconds if you're doing sports, you hit replay. And you got to be actually streaming to use replay. Right there, you can change your 1080 to 720 or 480. And that is pretty much monitor mode. Go back and get out of it. Then I can go to streaming mode, which what I can do is I've already done this one. If you've already done an event, you can tap that and say duplicate. None of this really matters. So especially if you do YouTube live, none of this matters. Just hit live. Create. Now you have a live to go to. We'll click that. And I'm going to pause for a second because I'm going to... Okay, now I'm sitting down. It's a lot easier to go through this. So now we are in streaming mode. There's a lot more options down here to go through in streaming mode. First and foremost, you have this. This was network bonding. Again, you have to pay for this, which I'm not doing. You have your layers, same as the monitor. You can turn them on. You can turn them off. Click to get out. You have right here is how you set. So for instance, these are some of the channels I have for YouTube, and I'm logged into the account, but I've found that these don't work. So the biggest complaint I have is I almost exclusively stream to YouTube. If you're on the desktop and create a stream, like schedule a stream, and you want to go to that stream, you can't really access it on here. The bypass to that is that you have to go out of here and you have to go back to, if we go back, exit out of streaming, you go up here to this. Now this is where you can set up your accounts, and you can change English, system update, all that. You can also screen rotate. What that means is there's a 1/4-20 screw on the bottom of this to mount on the top of a camera or tripod. But if you were to mount this upside down, which I've done on the dash of my truck, then you just hit the screen rotate and it rotates around. The problem is when you turn this off and turn it back on, it doesn't keep. So you have to hit that every time you restart. We will go back to the other side. This is also where, for the first time, you have to set up your network settings, your time zone, and your network settings to connect to your Wi-Fi, a hotspot, anything like that. Set up your SIM card if you're using a hotspot data card. You have your recordings and things like that. But what I came to here for is this, the RTMP. So this is another thing I hate. So when you hit that, you have to go, it sends a link to your email address. Then you have to go to your email address, click the link, and start entering in your server name and your stream key. It's ridiculous that you can't just do it right here. I mean, I hate that. I mean, this is a total pain. The whole purpose of me buying this to add it to my mobile streaming was to eliminate the laptop, so I'm not carrying a laptop and having to use OBS while I'm running around. YOLO Live, I don't know why they just make things so difficult. I don't know why you have to do it this way. You should be able to click that button and enter your RTMP and your stream key right here. So, but you have to go through that whole mess. So the point of it is once you've set your RTMP in YouTube, if you're familiar with YouTube, you can create multiple stream keys to do multiple streams. So my direct live account on YouTube has one stream key. My scheduled streams have a different stream key. So what I have done is I have both in here. So when I'm going live and I click here, you have to set where is it going to go live to. So what you'll see here is OKC Live and OKC Live 2. OKC Live, if I click that, that is the immediate live stream. If I go live, I'm live. I'm good to go, and it's not a scheduled stream, and it's whatever I have pre-done in there. OKC Live 2 sends to the stream key of my scheduled stream. Now the deal is though, in your scheduled streams in YouTube, you have the option of turning on start streaming instantly and stop streaming with so that you don't have to go to the dashboard in YouTube to start the stream. So with this, you have to turn on the auto start, which I did. So if I click on Live 2, it is going to start sending to my stream, and it's going to go ahead and start that scheduled stream. I have auto stop turned off because if you're going along and this box disconnects for a while, it will reconnect and pick the stream back up unless that auto stop is turned on. Then if YouTube loses your signal for a little while, it'll stop the stream. Then you got to go create a new stream. You got to get the laptop out. It's a real pain in the butt. So, so what I do is for news, when I'm covering breaking news, if I am out and about and I just happen to come on something and I have my regular stream set to OKC Live breaking news, I will hit 1, put this thing on top of the camera, plug a camera in, hit stream and go. And I can be live with raw video. But on Friday nights, we go out and live stream and we drive around, and it's a 5-hour stream. And it could be the dash cam. We could switch to a camera, remote camera out and about covering the news. That is a scheduled stream. And so OKC Live 2 is what I picked for that. You have to play around with it and get used to how you want to do it, but that is how you decide where you're going to stream. I'm not going to turn any of those on because I don't want to stream. And then I have some other channels here that I can stream to as well. So, but the OKC Live is what I use the most. We'll go back. You have, again, your sources. So all the sources that we had before, and I am going to plug in sources to show you something here in a minute. But that's where you pick your source and switch between cameras. Then you have your audio, same as on monitor. And again, I usually have to go up here. It's already on 20 dB because I duplicated the previous stream, so the settings are the same. You also have your scoreboard. Maybe there. So scoreboard, you can turn on, turn off, scoreboard display, and there, and then you can move it around to where you want it on your stream. It's just kind of up to you. And then you can go into the scoreboard and you can change the scores. You can do all the kind of that kind of stuff. You can play around with that. I'm not going to go over all that. I don't use it because truthfully, the touchscreen's finicky, and trying to do that while you're shooting a game, because most people are going to do this one camera or something, it's not practical. It's really not. So what they really needed to do is have Bluetooth built into this, and you could pair it to your phone and the scoreboard be on your phone. So as you're shooting, you're just clicking scores on your phone. It would have been a lot better than to try to touch the screen because it's easy. You could shut off your stream. You could do anything. So going across here, we have scoreboard here. This is one feature I really, really like. You can invite a guest. So what you do is you can mute them by default until you add them. But basically you go to invite guest. You have to type in their emails and hit send. You can also send a link to yourself, but you hit send, and what happens is they get an email on and if they check their email on their phone, and how do I get out of this? Cancel. Once you invite them, they become a source down here. So it's their vertical, horizontal. You can go straight to them full, or you can go in here, and after they've been added, you can do this side by side. You can do 3 people, and then what happens is it says you need sources first, but you can set to where you and another person. And what I'm going to do is show you where I tested it on myself. So I'm going to add a video where I've already recorded this, and it's right here, or either one of these. Let's do this one. Done. And I'm going to play that out. So this is what it looks like. So I could be here in this screen, or me and another person on a desk, and remotely somebody at home or somewhere could call in. We can talk back and forth, and you can do a picture-in-picture live stream. And yes, you can change the background. You can pick your own backgrounds, things like that. So very kind of neat. So cancel. We'll go back to the screen, and I'm going to delete that. You just hold press, hit delete, done. Now, go back around here. So that is how you invite people and can have guests on your stream. You also have where you can turn comments on and off. However, since I'm going through RTMP and it won't actually connect to my YouTube account, I can't, that's useless. It doesn't work. Then you have auto switching, where you can have it auto switch. So you got 3 cameras set up and 3 people at a desk, and you want it to just switch on its own so you don't have to man this. You can turn that on. Then you have your settings down here on the bottom, maybe. And again, switching mode and things like that. So that is kind of what it is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in a source. And here's my biggest complaint about this Yolobox is I bought it because I thought to myself, like, I already had a way to stream a single camera. I didn't need this for that. What I'm trying to do is get rid of OBS. OBS on a laptop, far more powerful, does a lot more than this thing can do. What I bought it for was, 1, the 5-inch screen, and 2, I thought I could plug in a HDMI camera, and with an HDMI to USB converter, like capture card, a second camera into this, and then I could go to my sources and I could switch between my dash cam, which is my Sony CX405, and my huge ENG camera for when I'm roaming around, because what I have mounted on my dash is I have on my big camera an HDMI transmitter, on the dash an HDMI receiver, which is going into here, so that I can go roam around and not be tethered to the truck, and I can go shoot what I need to shoot. Unbeknownst to me, until after I bought this, you can't use both at the same time. It's one or the other. And if you try to plug in 2 at once, this whole system crashes, and then you're holding down your power trying to get it to reboot. It won't reboot. There's no battery to take out. I mean, it's a built-in battery, and your stream is, for all its purposes, screwed. And you know, so you only have the one input. So I'm going to go to inputs right now, and I'm going to pull in, because I have this plugged into something else. I'm going to show you just a minute to get around that whole deal. So here is my HDMI, and it's hooked into an antenna box, so that's why you're not seeing a very good signal. Hold on one second. I mean, it's breaking up, but that's kind of the signal. But I can switch. That's my Game Stick 4K. So you saw I just switched sources, right? I switched from my antenna box, which is not getting a good signal because it's moved out of the way, to my Game Stick. That is what I want to be able to do. I want to switch between 2 cameras. And so to do that, I had to add a piece of equipment. And I had to add, let me move over here, had to add this thing. So this essentially is a 2-to-1 HDMI switcher. So what this does is I hit A and it goes to one thing, I hit B, it goes to the other. But if I hit this button, now I can do a side-by-side, and I can zoom in or do side-by-side with both sources. I can do vertical, same thing. And again, I'm not getting a very good signal, so I should probably try to change that to a channel that works. Let me go over to here. Well, now it's working. Okay. I can go here and see the picture-in-picture box. And using this, I can zoom. I can go here. Same thing. Zoom my picture-in-picture. It's down there. So on and so forth. I kind of like that. So I could have the dash cam rolling, and we could be out in the field, and we could have both shots up at once. I'm going to go back to Game Stick just for that. So had to buy this, which was an extra 80 bucks, to get this to work the way it should work out of the box. So, I mean, do with what you will. And I'm going to go ahead and give you my final grade on this thing right now. All right, guys, so that's the Yolobox Mini. And the bottom line with this thing, I would give this a grade of a C-. So if you're only hooking up one camera to it and you're going to just stream, you don't want your graphics or anything, okay, you're overpaying, honestly, to be able to do that, but it will work for that. I bought it because of the 5-inch screen, but it only takes one camera. I thought I was going to be able to use 2, and you can't. The reason I wanted like I said, the 5-inch, because I'm mobile. The Pro and the Ultra is a 7-inch screen. That's too big for what I want. So I do not expect YOLO Live to do any firmware updates to give you the ability to use 2 cameras. This thing's been out for long enough. They would have already done that if they were going to allow you to do it.
It's a huge flaw with this thing. The fact I can't set the duration of graphics in and out is also a huge flaw with this thing because it's just too slow. You can't cut graphics in and out. I don't like that. It's really the two camera situation that I really don't like. If you go with the Yolobox Pro, instead of the Mini, it's a 7-inch monitor. You can do 3 HDMI inputs. You can switch between cameras, but again, it's too big. I need something that's mobile, that's small, that can move around. And so that's why I got the Mini. But to be honest with you, I mean, it kind of feels like it's only good if you are going to use it in a stationary position. And if I'm doing that, I'm going to use my laptop and use OBS because I can do a lot more in OBS than I can do in this thing. The other thing is it does have a SIM card in it. So I was at a breaking news scene walking around with this mounted on the camera using the SIM card. And while I've done that in the past with something else, I've never had an issue. When I went back and watched the stream, on the monitor, everything looked fine. On the stream, it was cutting and breaking out as I moved around. If I stood in one spot, I was fine. I start moving around, the shot would freeze, break up, and then when you go back and watch the stream, it just cuts from one spot to the next, and it just looks jagged, it looks terrible. The scoreboards on the thing, not useful in reality unless you're stationary, and again, it defeats the purpose. Like if you're going to be stationary, I will use OBS. I mean, it just makes more sense. I think it's extremely overpriced for no more functionality than you get out of this thing. So I just, I had to buy an extra piece of equipment that I showed you to get this to work the way I wanted. It's just, it's kind of lacking. I think there's other things out there you could buy that are cheaper that probably work better. So, if they fix the graphics issue where I can set the duration or cut graphics in and out, and if they would give me a firmware update so that I could use a USB camera and an HDMI camera at the same time, then I would reverse course and I would recommend this thing. But as is, I cannot. I mean, it's just overpriced for what you're getting, and I can't recommend it. This thing, I paid about $739 with tax and shipping. This thing should be priced at about $299 for what you get out of the box. The other problem with this is that really to use this thing to its full potential, you have to get on the desktop or your laptop or something. You have to subscribe to Yolocash, you have to subscribe to the bonding. Defeats the entire purpose. I mean, the whole point of adding this was to eliminate the laptop. Any device out there, whether it's YOLO Live or any device that's an encoder, if you have to use a computer or a laptop to use it properly, it defeats the purpose. We need a device that works right out of the box, and you don't have to have anything extra. You can connect to a hotspot, connect to a SIM card, and be ready to go. This just doesn't do it. So I just can't recommend it. If they do an update, like I said, I will get back on and I will tell you to go buy it. But as is, I won't. I paid for this myself. I'm not going to return it. I bought the extra switcher to make it work the way I need it in my vehicle. But I really was disappointed with it. Once I started getting it out of the box and using it, I was disappointed with it. But hey, it may work for you. So, maybe this is something that fits what you need. That's totally up to you. I will put a link to this in the description, along with a link to this microphone and a link to that switcher that I showed you, so that if this is what you want to buy and use, then that's up to you. But I think there's better options. Guys, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed, like the video, and also leave a comment. And I'll see you next time. Take care.